Last week, we started out of nowhere 3-Minute Thursdays. And that's exactly the Japanese grammar we're going to be covering today. How to say start to. It's Thursday, which means that it's 3-Minute Thursdays, which is where I try to teach you an important grammar point from a dictionary of basic Japanese grammar in just 3 minutes. If you don't have a copy of a dictionary of basic Japanese grammar, I highly recommend picking one up. There's an affiliate link down in the description. If it's your first time here, my name's Andy. At Tokini Andy, I create and also stream Japanese lessons, as well as sharing what it's like to actually live in Japan. If that's something you'd be interested in, please consider subscribing. Alright, so let's put 3 minutes on the clock and see what we can do here. Boom. So our grammar point today is the auxiliary verb dasu. So here, of course, is how to write it in Romaji, followed by hiragana, dasu, and the kanji, which is what I'm going to be using for the rest of this lesson. The kanji itself is used to mean exit. Dasu, on its own, means to get out, and many other things. So it's a very important verb, and you should definitely learn it on its own. But today we're going to be covering how it's used as an auxiliary verb. Now by that I mean you attach it to the end of another verb to add meaning onto it. So when dasu is attached to the vimas stem, the conjugation, the polite present and future conjugation, I covered that in another stream, which is right up here, and I'll probably do it again eventually on one of these videos, so stay tuned for that. So when you attach dasu to the polite present stem, it means begin to do that verb, or start to do that verb. So the maru in this situation is, of course, the verb. For example, hashiridasu. It means to start running, and it sort of has a feeling of abruptness, so it's started suddenly running, right? If someone hashiridashita, that means they suddenly started running, and you'll often see it in things like books and in descriptions of criminals running away. So for example, kare wa hashiridashita. He suddenly began to run. Now of course, dashita is the past conjugation of the verb dasu. So the auxiliary verb dasu is conjugated in the same way as the verb dasu. Now I'm not covering conjugation in this video. If you want to learn more about that, there's lots of streams and also lessons on this channel that can help you out there, so please check those out. I'll also throw some links down in the description, so you can check those out if you're not sure how to conjugate verbs yet. So anyway, kare wa hashiridashita means he suddenly began to run. So this abruptness that I'm talking about is actually what separates vimas plus dasu from vimasu plus hajimeru. For example, if I'm gonna walk somewhere and I'm with a couple of people and I want to ask them, hey, why don't we start walking? I could say, aruki hajimemashou. Aruki hajimemashou. But what I couldn't say is, aruki dashimashou. Now technically, right, this means start walking, but using dasu as an auxiliary verb is generally a non-volitional action, so it suddenly started raining, or someone else that's not me suddenly started doing something. So in this case, aruki dashimashou, it doesn't sound right at all. Here are some example sentences. The first one is, ame ga furidashita, which means it began to rain. Now this is a very common sentence you might see in a book or just anywhere else. Another thing about using the auxiliary verb dasu is that I feel like it's used a lot in storytelling. So if you're telling someone a story about something that happened to you this past weekend, that's a good opportunity to use this. Another example sentence is, kanojo wa ikinari nakidashita. Now, ikinari means suddenly or abruptly, and attaching this to the dasu auxiliary verb makes it even more pronounced that it was a sudden, abrupt happening. So in this case, the girl didn't like slowly start crying. It means that she started crying hard and fast, like she was just sitting there and then she was like, right? So, kanojo wa ikinari nakidashita. That ikinari makes that abruptness even more obvious. Our next sentence is, 6月に YouTube ビデオを作り出しました. And that's kind of about me. I began to make YouTube videos in June of 2019, and it was sudden. I didn't tell anyone, I didn't prepare anything, I just suddenly released a video on YouTube, and I've been doing it ever since. I don't suggest watching that first video, it's not really anything to be proud of, but I am proud of the progress I've made over time, and that's why I made the sentence of 6月に YouTube ビデオを作り出しました. I began to make YouTube videos in June, and that has a feeling of abruptness. It just happened. At least for those of you watching. So if you like this video, please hit the thumbs up. And if you'd like to learn more Japanese, please subscribe. Also, don't forget, if you want to remember how to use DASU, use it as soon as you can, whether in a lesson, on my Discord, there's a link in the description, on Twitter, wherever you can, use it as soon as possible. I highly recommend speaking as soon as possible. So get a lesson on iTalki or something, there's a link down in the description, or, whatever it takes, use it as soon as possible so that you don't forget it. Anyway, this has been Tokini Andy. I hope you enjoyed it, and I'll see you next time. Bye-bye!